Melissa, in your book, Late Bloomer, you talk about how you accidentally discovered that you're highly sensitive, and I'm
Yes.
I'm curious to hear more about that.
It actually was very much on accident. My partner and I went to a yoga retreat center where they do educational classes, and she had signed us up for something that was meaningful to her, and wanted to be supportive, and went ahead. I had prepared. It wasn't a class I would have selected for myself. And so I wanted to kind of go in because I do like to be prepared, typically. Never really thought about why. It's just something I knew about myself that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I should prepare. And again, so many things I would do, never even thought about it, just did it.
Hmm.
And we show up in this beautiful place in Western Massachusetts in what turns out to be a very small classroom, hard chairs, and this topic that's very foreign to me. I don't have a huge investment in it. And one of the first things after the instructor does her initial introduction is break up into small groups. And I'm like, oh, how I
The
dread that.
worst.
I just dread that, really. So I kind of, I muddle through a little bit, and I get through. The first night is a short one, and I get through. And the next morning, my partner and I have a small little, not a great exchange,
Hmm.
having to do with some family stuff. But it was just enough that I was like, okay, so I
Hmm.
wasn't embracing this anymore. I was already uncomfortable. We go back to this small little classroom, and I'm just not feeling it now. And, so I'm like, feels like it's closing in on me. And
Hmm.
it just feels like now it was going to be a longer day. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't think I can do this. Like, I'm listening to my body. My body's just getting really uncomfortable. And I'm envisioning myself in this small space with these people and this topic. I'm already upset. And I just feel something brewing inside of me that says, this is not going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide to leave, which is a
Mm.
little out of character for me because it's
Yeah.
like, sweat it out. Don't, I work really hard not to be embarrassed. I didn't want her to be any more upset, but I knew I just couldn't spend the whole day there. And
Hmm.
so I picked up and I was like, you know what? It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take care of me. Maybe I'll come back later. Right.
Mm.
Because beautiful campus. So as I'm walking out, I pass what would be a larger room with a little index card with a couple of interesting questions. Like, do you have, whatever it was, these crazy dreams? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a wild inner life? Yeah. And I'm like, what is this? Everything except my name was on that index card.
Right. You saw
So
yourself.
I sneak in, I hide in the corner, huge room as opposed to where I had just come from, people everywhere. They're not just sitting in chairs. Some are in chairs, some are on the floor, some are lying down.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? I've never seen anything like this. I've, never been in a workshop like this. And I'm listening to the person speak who I didn't know who she was, but everything she says resonates for me.
Yeah.
And it's almost like This Is Your Life or a candid camera. And I'm like looking around, like,
Right.
was this a setup? Like, this is really
Right.
weird. Like, you're talking to me and I'm not even supposed to be here. And on the first break, I go up to the person who is helping. It turns out to be Dr. Elaine Aaron,
I
who
I thought
is the
so.
guru of
Yes.
highly sensitive people. And her partner in instructing was Dr. Elaine Friend.
Yep.
And I go up
I
to her and I'm like, kind of like, what is this all about? I just got here. And she opens up her computer. She shares the slides with me. And all of it, it's like angels singing all of a sudden, like the light, like Wizard of Oz, black and white to color. It's like all of a sudden, everything is like falling into place. You didn't even know it was out of place,
right.
but everything starts tumbling in. And I look at her and I go, how could I not have known
Hmm.
about this? And she just looked at me and she says, you've been too busy surviving.
Mm.
And it made so much sense.
Yes.
It didn't, it didn't. It's like, but it all fell into place. And that was it. I was done. I stayed. I soaked it up. I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to know everything. I was so excited. I like
Hmm.
bounced back into the room later on when my partner was still like, you left and I haven't heard from you all day. You left the workshop. I'm like, I forgot about that. I was so excited.
Sure.
But she saw how excited I was. And I'm like, I understand myself. I'm like, look, there's
Wow.
a name. It was so validating. It was so
Wow.
validating for me. And it was all accidental. I wasn't supposed to be, well, technically, I wasn't supposed
Right.
to be there, but I was.
Wow.
Uh,
What a profound discovery story.
Game changer.
Game
It was
changer.
a game
And
changer.
you had this visceral reaction and pulling you out of that space and then just serendipitously finding Dr. Elaine Aaron's workshop. Were you at Kripalu?
Yes.
I thought
Yes.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Um,
acting well. Yeah.
magical things happen there.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Absolutely unbelievable, but
Unbelievable.
definitely a game changer.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden I had language.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So, I have all these things about me. If I go to a work conference, I know that I'm going to get early and I'm going to set up my seat because I'm going to want to be on the end. I
Yep.
might take up the seat next to me. I mean, if it gets really crowded and nobody can sit, I'll take my stuff off. But, if there's
Mhm.
available seats, I'm going to want that empty. I'm going to want to
Definitely.
be towards the back. So if I have to get
Hmm.
up and leave, I know these things about me, they're routine, but I never stop to think about, well, why do I do that? Why
Mm.
do I not want to have lunch with everybody? Why do I say
Right.
no? Why do I extend my hotel stay? Why do I
Hmm.
need that? Why do I feel bad when people say you're extending your hotel stay? Well, don't you miss your family? And like, well, yeah, no, I guess I should. But, and I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I had language. And
Yes.
now I was able to kind of go back over all these things I knew I did without ever wondering why or questioning.